Justice was a young man who carried himself like a king. Everyone at the university called him Ezege. He was 26 years old and studied political science. Proud, fearless, and fierce, Ezege hated laziness and loved power. To him, the world was a place to conquer, a place he would rule. He protected everything he claimed as his own with fierce loyalty. His influence on campus ran deep. He was a prominent member of a secret cult, giving him respect and fear from many students. One bright afternoon, the sun warmed the university courtyard. Students sat on the steps of the library. Some flipped through books while others chatted or stared into their phone screens. Ezege stood by a pillar, his lean frame relaxed but his eyes sharp and restless. He watched the courtyard carefully, as if nothing could go unnoticed by him. Then his gaze caught sight of something that made his eyes narrow. Across the courtyard stood Tina, his girlfriend, laughing and walking closely with another young man. The man's name was James. Ezege's stomach tightened. James held Tina's waist as they moved together, smiling freely. Anger and tension rose inside Ezege like a brewing storm. "Who is that touching my girlfriend like that?" Ezege whispered darkly to himself. Without hesitation, he pulled out his phone and quickly dialed a number. "Alex," he said coldly and steady, "I want everything on that guy. Name, department, everything. Get it to me within 24 hours. The voice on the other end was calm but loyal. "Understood, boss." The next day, the campus cafeteria buzzed with students eating and talking. Alex slid into the seat next to Ezege's table with a thick folder. Conversations around them became white noise as Ezege stared hard at the papers inside the folder. "His name's James. He studies sociology," Alex said softly. "No close relationship with Tina, except they're dating." Ezege's fist slammed the table. "So, this guy thinks he can compete with me," he muttered, voice heavy with warning and anger. "Okay." The next morning, in a quiet spot under a large tree near the Faculty of Social Sciences, James sat scrolling aimlessly on his phone. Suddenly, Ezege appeared behind him, walking calmly with hands pushed deep into his pockets. "Stay away from Tina," Ezege said simply, his voice cold. James looked up slowly, a smile creeping across his face. "Who are you?" "Listen, I don't want trouble. Just leave her alone before things get worse," Ezege answered, trying to sound calm but firm. James chuckled softly and shook his head. "Man, please move. This is 2025, not the old days." Ezege stared for a moment longer, the tension thick in the air, then turned and walked away. That same evening, without knocking, Ezege burst into Tina's room. His heart hammered in his chest. There, well beyond suspicion, were Tina and James, tangled in a soft embrace. Tina jumped up, startled. James froze, surprised and fearful. James met Ezege's eyes. "Come with me," Ezege ordered coldly. Outside, they walked in silence down a narrow bushy path. Ezege stopped suddenly and pulled a small pistol from his pocket. His hands were steady as he held the gun in front of James. "I don't want to kill you because of a woman," Ezege warned. "But you're risking your life." He cocked the gun and aimed. Then, sharply, he took a deep breath. Something inside him softened. Slowly, he lowered the weapon. "Go," he said heavily. James stood frozen for a moment, then ran away as fast as he could. The next day, James disappeared from the campus entirely. Rumors began to swirl. Some whispered that Ezege had killed James. Others said James was too afraid and ran away for his life. From that moment, Ezege's power only grew stronger. Late-night meetings were held in secret. Money changed hands quietly. Students moved aside whenever he and his boys approached. His name commanded respect and fear. Final year arrived. Ezege rose to the top and was appointed D1, the leader of his confraternity. Wherever he went, 4 or 5 loyal boys followed. His word was law. No one dared question it. Then one night, Tina took Ezege to a city crusade. They stood in a crowded open field filled with bright lights and the sound of a powerful preacher leading a fiery sermon. The choir's voices rose, soaring into the night. "Please, just come," Tina begged, pulling him through the swaying crowd. "The man of God is powerful." But Ezege shook his head. "You know I don't go to church." "For me," Tina said softly, eyes full of hope. They found a spot near the center where the preacher spoke clearly into the microphone. "There is a young man here," the pastor called out, eyes scanning the crowd. "Name, Ezege Justice. Social Sciences Department. Dark skin, not too tall. Come forward now." Ezege's body stiffened. Only a handful of people knew his full name, and Tina, Alex, and Samson were the only ones close enough to hear it called. Alex leaned in, whispering a warning. "Boss, don't lose control. Your girlfriend leaked your name." The pastor's voice grew louder. "The Lord says you have a glorious destiny. You will become a politician. Many will go abroad because of you. But if you don't come forward, I see blood. A young man, 18 years old, will cut off your ear, and then your life." Ezege didn't move as the pastor gave one last call. Then he gave up. That night, back in Tina's room, she pressed him. "Why didn't you go?" He shrugged, angry. "I know your plans. The pastor will ask for money soon." "Forget it." Tina's eyes filled with tears. "It's not all about money. We're talking about your life." "Forget it," Ezege snapped angrily. "I know what you did. Just stay quiet." The next evening, Ezege sat quietly in his room, dressed in his usual black and red garb, ready for whatever came. Tina gripped his arm and trembled. "Please don't go. Remember what the pastor said. They want to cut my ear." "That hasn't happened yet," Ezege said, full of bravado. He stepped out the door, joined by Alex and Samson. They entered the rival cult's territory under the cover of darkness. Suddenly, gunshots shattered the silence. Shouts echoed from every side. The enemy gang surrounded them, every escape blocked. "Fall back," Ezege shouted. He reached into his pocket, panic rising as he felt for his phone. It was gone. They split into 2 groups to escape. Ezege and 2 of his men dove into a nearby compound. The door slammed shut behind them. Bright lights blinded them. "Welcome," a cold voice said. Scorpio, the rival gang leader, stood with his men. They dragged Ezege to the ground and beat him without mercy. They tied his hands. Then, the smallest member of the rival gang, a fierce boy just 18 years old, stepped forward holding a battle axe. "Cut his ear," Scorpio ordered. The boy hesitated. Fear and doubt showed in his eyes. Scorpio slapped him hard. Without a sound, the boy swung the axe, severing Ezege's left ear. A scream tore from Ezege's throat as blood poured down his face. "Now his head," Scorpio said coldly. The boy's hands shook violently. He raised the axe and swung, but then everything went black. Far away, in a quiet home, Ezege's mother dropped a glass with a sharp gasp. Her heart fluttered wildly as she snatched up her phone and dialed. "Tina, how is my son?" she asked, worried. Tina tried to keep calm, but her voice trembled. "He went out. Not back yet." "Did he go out alone?" the mother asked sharply. "Something like that," Tina said, unable to stop the shaking. The morning after, whispers swept through the city as a growing crowd gathered around a lifeless body. Tina pushed her way through, heart pounding. There he was. Ezege's battered, broken body lay still. She screamed and fainted. Answer: the great Ezege, proud, fierce, and deaf to warning, met the end that was foretold. Your destiny lies in your hands, but only wisdom decides if you live long enough to hold it.